pleased to be joined by Congressman Joe Heck, a Republican of Nevada, who serves on the House Armed Services Committee and also the Intelligence Committee. And Congressman, we want to talk about Libya in a second, but first Afghanistan. What do you need to hear from the president tomorrow? What do Republicans need to hear from him about the path forward? Are you looking at numbers? Are you looking at strategy?
Well, I think we've got to look at strategy and conditions on the ground, and we have to get the input of our senior military leaders to say whether or not it's time for a drawdown, and if so, how many troops. And so it's got to be conditions-based. It can't be based on a strict calendar and a strict set of numbers. We've got to let our strategy, our goals, objectives, and our military leaders dictate and provide the influence or the opinion of where we need to go in the future.
I want to talk to you a little bit about what John McCain has said about Libya. You, of course, introducing a bill that would cut off funding for military operations in Libya. And about a week ago, John McCain said, if this were a Republican president, saying this to his Republican colleagues, would you be trying to impose these same conditions? Now, I'd love to get your answer to that. If there were a Republican president doing in Libya what President Obama is doing, would you and your colleagues be pursuing this sort of legislation?
Well, I would certainly. It's not an issue of whether it's a Republican or a Democratic president. The fact is, the president didn't follow the War Powers Act. He's in violation of the War Powers Act, did not seek congressional approval, has not clearly articulated what the U.S. national security interest is in Libya. And at a time when we're struggling with such a crushing debt and deficit, in fact, both Secretary Gates and Admiral Mullen saying that the #1 threat facing the United States is our debt, we need to be very careful about where we're obligating U.S. resources and U.S. troops. And so it's regardless of what party the president is, the fact is he's in violation of the War Powers Act and needs to be held accountable.
But for the debt and deficit question, should Afghanistan not also be held to those same standards?
Well, I think the issue in Afghanistan and even in Iraq is that there is congressional approval and authority that was given to the president for both those operations. There is an objective that has been laid out. There is a strategy. We went into Libya with no notification, no request for congressional authority or approval, violating the War Powers Act. We're not sure what the actual final objective is. We heard testimony just last week in the Intelligence Committee where two different agencies involved in operations had different goals and objectives and didn't necessarily know what the other's objective was. So there is a very difficult situation that we find ourselves in Congress. We all want to support our troops and make sure that our military has the tools they need to do the job, but the president has failed to come to Congress to ask for the authority as required by the War Powers Act.
Well, let's talk about what Congress can do, because when we enter this constitutional murky territory where the White House says, no, we're doing the right thing, Congress says, no, you're not, are you going to be bringing a vote to the floor this week to try to rein in the president on Libya, to try to bring some accountability to bear?
Well, certainly, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says that Congress has the authority to declare war. And then Article 2, Section 2 says that the president is commander-in-chief. But if there's no declaration of war, no authority to deploy troops, who's he commanding? A general doesn't have the authority to commit troops without there being a declaration of war. So I don't believe there's any murky grounds on constitutional basis. The president's then supposed to notify Congress within 48 hours. And if he has not, within 60 days, troops are supposed to be withdrawn. We're now past 90 days. And so Congress has given
what are you going to do about it?
Opportunity. Well, I'm introducing a bill that says you've got 30 days to withdraw troops, and we're cutting off funds other than for the withdrawal from operations. And I believe this gives our allies an opportunity to rework their operational plans, to know that they will not have the assets that we're providing, and be able to continue on with their NATO operation if they so choose, in a way that does not jeopardize allied lives.
And do you think that this will be up for a vote this week? Do you expect that?
Well, I hope that it is. We certainly want to move forward quickly. That's why we're introducing the bill today. And we hope that we get it to a vote by the end of the week.
And basically, so 30 days, and then all funding, all U.S. funding is out of the NATO operation. That's what you would do.
Right, unless the money is being used to disengage our forces.
Right, only for disengagement. All right, Congressman Joe Heck, Republican of Nevada, thanks for being here on Top Line. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, my pleasure.